Hello and welcome to Author's Feet, a literary program focusing on contemporary authors and their journey to authorship. I am your host, Empress Ciku Mwaniki. Our today's guest is a first for us. We've never before had a children's books writer, and today we have Jennie Marina or She Marima. Karibu sana. She's an editor and she's an author, and we're going to find out how she got to where she is. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
You have worked in a publishing house. You don't work there anymore, yeah?
No.
Was that like a job you always wanted, or was that a job like available after university, or take me through that?
Okay. So I guess I sort of stumbled into it, but it wasn't too far from what I always wanted. I thought I probably might want to be a journalist or something to do with writing and something like that.
That's your degree.
Is it my degree though? I don't know. But yeah, so when an opening came up, and it's a long story, it's a really long and boring somewhat story of how I found myself in publishing. But it wasn't too far from where I thought I should be.
Where did you think you should be?
On the other side of publishing. So I was on the side of publishing where I was receiving manuscripts from from authors. I was evaluating them. I was making decisions on what will be published or not, that kind of thing. I was always feeling like I should be the one submitting manuscripts because I'm a writer. Deep down, I have so many ideas. I have a lot of creative energy bursting
When did
through
you
me.
know you wanted to be a writer?
I've always known I wanted to be a writer.
Really?
Yes.
Like 5 years?
From like
when other kids were saying they want to be doctors, you wanted to be a writer?
Yes. I used to draw little books with my name, like this and that title by me.
Nice.
Yeah, so
have you kept them?
I don't think I have.
No? Oh, okay. So eventually you moved to the side you wanted to be.
Yes.
But did you have to like stop being on the wrong side, quote unquote,
Yes.
to be able to be on the side you wanted to be?
Yes, yes, in a sense, yes. I guess life and life's ups and downs pushed me out of that side, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And so I ended up on the side that I always wanted to be, but it's not a smooth a transition as I am making it seem. It was a bit, I faced a bit of headwinds, let me put it that way. Yeah.
What, like before or after?
The during, because one was like a stable job, and after you're like floating in what am I anymore? I'm not published yet, so I'm not really an editor, I'm not a writer, I'm not employed, I'm just this human trying to figure out life, you know. So yeah.
Did you write, like, did you publish when you were already there, or did you publish when you were out of the publishing industry as a publisher?
When I was there, I only published one little title. And I remember when I was going into publishing, during my interview, I told them that I have a title, and would it be a conflict of interest if this was published? Because I had already sent it out. And whoever was interviewing me
to another publisher.
Yeah. Whoever was interviewing me was like, no, it's not a big deal. But generally, it was frowned upon for an editor to also be writing, because it's a bit awkward. If you write for your own publisher, it will seem like you're probably prioritizing your own work, and maybe you're not as objective. And if you publish with a competing publisher, then I mean you're competing. It's just an awkward dynamic to be in. So I was much happier to be out. That being said, there are publishers who encourage their editors to write. For example, I think Story Moja, the editors are allowed to write. One Planet, I see their editors writing. So that wasn't a common thing then. And yeah.
Okay. So since then, when did you come out of employment, of formal employment?
So I would say about 2016, thereabouts.
2016.
Yeah.
So in 2016, our viewers can see all these amazing, beautiful books here.
Yeah.
In 2016, that's 7 years? That's about
Well,
7 years.
I'm trying not to count.
It's about 7 years. I'll count for you.
Okay.
You've done over 10 books.
Apparently.
How is that even possible? Because being an author myself, I know how daunting that task is. And I know it doesn't matter the size of the book.
Yeah.
It's the 20-page one is as daunting as the 100-page one. How has that been?
It's been incredible.
Yeah?
It's been wonderful. It's been feeling I am exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Amazing.
It's just the best feeling in the world. However, it also has its times when it's very difficult, when it's very hard, and it's just I don't know what to put
Difficult how? Could you state the difficulties?
So let me recall the most recent work that I was doing, which is hopefully going to come out soon, I hope. So I was commissioned to do some work, and I went out. You know, when you have a blank canvas, you don't know whether you will deliver. You don't know whether your story will be captivating. Half the time, I don't even know what I will write about or how the story will end. So by the time I'm starting a story, the only thing I know for sure is the setting and maybe the point of view I want to use. As to the details inside, I will figure out as I go, or let me put it more dramatically, is the characters will tell me where they want to go.
Might do that as well, so I totally understand. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So I get into this and I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to? There's just anxiety around, will I finish? Will it be captivating? Am I putting the clues well, the red herrings? Am I telling the story well? Am I describing them credibly? You know, there's all this anxiety and there's joy, and it's just a mixed bag. But overall, it's a very positive experience, and I guess it's like how people who are thriving in their careers, and it's not always blissful. There are times where they have to train. There are times when it's not so glamorous. It's not so romantic, you know. So yes.
Okay. But you wouldn't change it for whatever.
No way.
I am imagining writing a children's book is such an extra careful process. Yet it's the genre you've chosen to go with for children and young readers. Why the young readers?
So writing children's and young adult books is an escape for me, because I actually appreciate the confines that come with writing for children and young adults. So I found that when I write for adults, and I haven't written much, just a bunch of short stories published here and there, and I found that they tended to be a little on the dark side. And so I enjoy the confines that writing for children's books gives, that I am required to have a happy ending. I am required to have hope in the book. And yeah, so for me, it's almost an escape that through this outlet, I can get to have an outcome that might not necessarily be available or accessible in real life, because real life is a bit messy. And even for children, even children who read my book, some of them have very complicated lives, very difficult lives. And I would like them to read this and even for them have an escape, regardless of what the character is going through. Like the character could be going through some ups and downs, but in the end, they will find redemption and hope and so on. But that's not always available in adult literature. And I found the direction I was taking was just going really far on the dark side, you know.
Yeah. You've got me curious. I think I need to dig out your adult books writings. My children, they've read each and every one of your books, not the baby ones, but the young adults. They love them. They told me to tell you they love them.
Thank you.
I have read a couple or three. Actually, I think I've read three of these ones. You love high school settings.
Yes.
is that because of your target or your target audience, or is that because that's where a lot of life happens for young adults?
That's interesting. I think I've always been fascinated about school settings.
Yeah.
So even the entertainment that I enjoy to consume, because usually it is said that we write the things that we enjoy to read, So I find that even the movies I like to watch, the series I like to watch are usually set in a high school or a college or a sort of school setting.
Yeah.
So I kind of tend to gravitate towards a school setting. Yeah.
And you've done them very well because, like, was it this one? Just once. Just this one. This one I laughed because a lot of things I could, it took me back to my high school days and I could pick each and every one of those characters in my head, of course, different ones.
Yeah.
But I knew somebody in this book, like everybody in this book. So are your characters crafted from people you knew, or are they totally, completely fictional? Are these stories that they happened in your time, or maybe somebody told you about them? How do you set up?
Wow, very interesting questions. So I would say they are almost 99.9% fictional. However, I could meet someone who is so unique in their mannerisms or in their characters that they inspire a character. Yes. So I would say they are fictional, but based on people, but not real people,
Yeah. So you're inspired by people, or?
Yes, people, situations. Yes.
Okay.
People, situations, people who are unique, people who are on the extreme. They fascinate me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they selling? Are they reading our children? Actually, that should be the question. Are they reading?
I would like to think that they are, because I think the books are moving, and I want.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yes, and
who is buying, the parents or the schools, or?
So the schools are required. So what happens is the publisher will introduce the book to the school, for example, and then the school will go through the book, and then if they find it's a right fit for their school, they would recommend it to the parents, and the parents buy it.
And they buy.
Oh yes, they buy. And then sometimes they even, there's in one of the books there's my email address, apparently.
Yeah.
So I've gotten emails from students who are like, oh, I'm from a school in Siaya, and I was really inspired by this story, and it just warms my heart.
It does.
Absolutely warms my heart, because when you're writing, you're just writing and hoping one person will like it.
That is true.
And and if that person is your friend, yay. But imagine a complete, total stranger kid, and they're just gushing over your book. It's wow, yeah.
That is amazing. Have you made any talks in schools? Have you ever gone to talk to the students?
So there was one time, I think before COVID, Goethe Institute organized a literary caravan. So I did have opportunity to have just a little snippet of a talk.
How was that?
It was nice.
Yeah.
Those kids make you feel like an actual celebrity. They mob you, and they want you to autograph their little papers.
Yes.
They're just very wide-eyed and eager, and oh my gosh, it's such a good feeling when you're around that energy.
Humans we are very easy to please, by the way. So have you had students or their parents coming to ask you to mentor them?
So the kind of requests or mentorship type questions I get are people who want to know how to get published, people who want to get started in writing, that sort of thing. Yes, so I do get quite a few, or I used to get quite a few, but I'm not as accessible, so I don't get that many.
Why are you not accessible?
So I'm not really active on social media. It's very hard to find.
I could have told them that.
I was preempting your question. Yeah, so I'm not that active on social media. So it's unless you know me or you're given my number, probably hard to find me.
Okay, that is like a very interesting thing, because every author, or maybe except for one, has totally 100% relied on social media to move their works. I guess for you it's easier because you have a publisher.
Yeah.
Would you self-publish? Because if you self-publish, you would have to be active on social media.
For sure.
So do you think that having a publisher has made you a bit lazy on that side?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it lazy, but yes, I think it helps to have a publisher. Even then, these days, sometimes even publishing decisions are made, okay, I can't say for sure, but I think, I'm suspecting that certain publishing decisions are made on the author's social media numbers. So if you're a very shy and withdrawn author, and there's a more charming and charismatic one who's gonna be on every other station, they're more likely to gravitate towards the one who will get their work out there. I want to think that that's where the world is going generally. People are being considered because of the numbers they are putting together.
So you wouldn't advise anyone to be like you?
No. In fact, please don't follow my route. I started taking a backseat on social media around COVID time because there was a lot of just depressing stuff and everything. So I just felt, okay, this is the time to be quiet. But even before then, I was starting to feel there's something I'm doing wrong, because I found that my engagements were not, they were good. They were good. I would get a lot of interest, a lot of questions, but they were not, some of them were not as productive, and some of them were not translating into sales necessarily as I had hoped, you know. So maybe out of maybe 20 very wonderful congratulations, I'd get maybe 2 sales. And you know, my books are not that expensive. Already I'm buying them from my publisher, so at a discount. So the energy I'm expending to go and sell these 2 books is the energy and time, like it was even more expensive for me to sell to the 2 social media people than to just sit back and let my publisher sell them. So I wanted to create awareness about my product. But then again, my product is also unique in the sense that the decisions about what to buy, I mean, which children's book to buy, are predominantly made by the teacher, not necessarily. So if a teacher happens to stumble upon my post, maybe it can sway them one way or another. But the most effective way then, I don't know how it is now, was to maybe market to teachers directly. If there's a teachers conference, go there and push your books, you know. But social media,
it wasn't working for you.
I was not getting very productive engagements, and sometimes I would get some busybodies, and I don't know whether I'm a recovering.
No, you're describing social media as it actually is. So I think the general rule is you only sell 10% of the people who engage with you.
So you see, I don't even have those stats. So for me, I'm going in there very hopeful, and then that's when I realized I also don't have that much bandwidth to engage, because I don't know whether I'm a recovering people pleaser. So I felt obliged to respond to every inquiry, every engagement, and some of them were not productive, and I would feel so guilty if someone took the time to write to me and I'm not taking the time to write them back. So what time do I have to write and do to exist in other spaces? So it was just becoming overwhelming. So I was going about it wrong. So probably after I've taken a back seat, maybe if I ever want to venture in, I probably need to talk to you or people like you who are leveraging social media.
Yeah, but we do waste a lot of time there. But the thing is, you still get to hit someone. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3. That 1, 2 or 3 might bring, you know, I think the issue would be to expect instant gratification that will break your heart. But in the end, it does work. But Going back to you making the choice of being published, I think a bulk of the writers I've spoken to on this program, when I ask them about publishing, they are in self-publishing because they could not get their book to a publisher.
Yes.
Me being one of them, actually. I probably did not try hard enough.
Okay.
But I know it's a hurdle that a lot of us face. Would it be a crazy claim to say you were lucky because you were already in the business?
Yes.
It would be, yeah?
No, it was not at all crazy. I was lucky because I was an insider and I knew what people look for because I was the person deciding,
Yeah.
you know, so it gave me such a huge advantage. I already had networks.
Yeah.
So yes,
It helps
for sure.
to be there already.
For sure, it short-circuited a lot of the processes, but it also helped that I am also a good writer.
You are a good
Yes.
writer, so that one you're not just blowing your trumpets for nothing. You really are a good writer. But what would you tell the authors who would like to go your route? Even leave alone the networking, you already had your network. Somebody fresh from my village wants to be published.
Yeah.
What would you advise them? What are the do's and the don'ts?
So the first thing I would say is probably finish writing, because one of the challenges I had when I was on the inside was meeting people very eager, very excited about wanting to write, and then they would want to talk and talk about writing and how they have these big ideas, but they just never would write.
So they're coming to you without the manuscript.
Yeah, so they have all these ideas and they want us to bounce off. Like, what do you think? I want to write this. And it's good to hear them, but after a while, it's just very exhausting. So I would say just write and finish, you know. And then probably you want, like, for instance, if you want to write in the children's space, you might want to look at a few children's books, look at which publishers have published them, reach out on their socials, ask them, do they have publishing procedures? Are they going to receive unsolicited manuscripts? I'm finding increasingly that publishers are not receiving unsolicited manuscripts.
What do you mean by unsolicited?
What I mean is where you just walk in with your manuscript and email, or, you know, just a cold kind of email. Yeah, you don't know them. You're just like, hi, I've done this, please consider it. So I found that increasingly publishers are not receiving unsolicited manuscripts.
So they need to know already that they are receiving ABCD.
Yes.
So they can wait for it.
Yes.
How do I get to that point?
So you have to be on their radar. So I would say try and get on their radar, either by going to book fairs, mingling, meeting, showing them stuff, publishing on your blog and getting it really popular. I think there's an author, I don't know whether it's, I can't speak for him, but what I think I remember of his story was he wrote a very captivating Facebook post. It was something, Charles Chanchori.
Oh, Chanchori, yeah.
Yeah, and we all read it. It went viral. And that's one way to crack in, because big decision makers, it got to their attention.
And I think actually now Chanchori has a publisher.
Yes, yes, and he's published a bunch on his own, but I think he's also been published by Oxford. So you see, so do things to get their attention. Publish on your Facebook, contribute to literary discussions. For instance, there's, I think, literary pages in The Nation, in other papers, that sort of thing. Just do everything you can to get on their radar. Okay. But once you have their attention, don't squander it. No. Don't squander it by making it a talking shop. Make sure you come there with a good product. Make sure you've talked
Never come with a raw manuscript.
No. Oh my goodness. Cardinal Rule, number 1, broken, Roman. Don't come with your first draft. Yeah. Yes. Go have someone go through it yourself. There'll be gaps you will notice. There'll be gaps maybe a friend will notice, and then submit. And yeah, that sort of thing. Talking of newspapers, you contribute for The Nation? I used to, yeah. Oh, you used to? You don't do that anymore? Yeah, I haven't done in a minute. Yeah. Also, it wasn't like on a contract. It was
like cold calls?
Yeah, a kind of sorta. So I was like, I guess I was trying. You know, that time one of my first articles, the Nation had a segment where they say, "Have your say, tell us about your favorite book," or something like that. And I wrote, and I found it an easy entry point because they were asking for articles rather than other segments where it's kind of closed off and you don't know how to crack in. So this one, they've even given an email address. So I started writing for that. And the editor at The Nation caught he's like, "Hey, could you write more stuff for us?"
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
So do something.
Yeah, so I started writing like, bigger, like whatever.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Would you have something for us for next week?" So I guess he took a liking to my work.
Yeah.
And I found favor in his eyes. But I didn't know him from before. I knew him because of that one article I sent. And he's like, "Please come over. Let's stick your picture. Could do it regularly. Have you done something?" So so at the time when he was the editor, I was contributing almost every other Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you need to do something before things start happening. Tell me a bit about your gig as an editor. Is that a busy thing? Is it regular? Is it bringing in some money?
Okay, so I like to call myself an independent consultant. Anyway, so I do consultancy, work in publishing, and also communications. I would say it's sustaining me. Yes, I've been very fortunate to have good clients. Yes.
Books? It's books you edit?
No.
What do you
In fact, my work is mostly development of publications.
Okay.
Yeah, so in fact, on many occasions, there is an editor to edit what we have developed. Yeah, so...
Oh, okay. Would you edit books?
I mean, I can, but I'm reluctant to edit fiction. Because I feel like I'm deep in the game, and it just feels, I don't know.
Is that from your experience?
I'm already a player inside. And then when I was editing fiction, in the early days, what I thought was editing was actually rewriting for people. And
that's the problem I have with editors, actually. It's like, you don't change my story.
Exactly. So, and actually some of them were, like, I probably would not rewrite your sentence if it's good. But the sentences that I was receiving, and we were under pressure maybe to produce X number of books, and these are the scripts that are available. So you have to resuscitate them,
Okay.
So in early days, I would kind of rewrite them. So the authors thought that is the editor's job. So they just bring the next work, which is like,
don't do this.
Yeah, and I'd be like, "No, you actually have to improve here and there." They're like, "But you see, you do the thing you did the other time."
The other one.
Actually, that's not the normal thing. You are supposed to fix your own work, you know. So slowly, I started sifting out the lazy authors, and the really committed authors started kind of rising to the surface. Yes, but I'm not wanting to edit fiction
you don't want
at
to
the
go
minute.
that way.
Yeah.
Okay. What's coming? What's in the pipeline? Are we having 3 books in the next 2 years?
So, well, yes, hopefully, but I did write something this year. I'm hopeful it will come out. Publishing is very unpredictable.
So it's out of your hands the minute it goes.
Exactly. So I did my part. I showed up for my end. I wrote.
But you're working on something?
Right now, no. Right now, I'm just freshly from writing, and because it's such if I say draining, it sounds negative.
It really is draining.
Yes.
I can see it is draining.
So it's positively draining. So I am yet to recharge from that experience.
So how are you winding down from that? What do you do?
So reading, chilling. I do Afro-Latin dance every once in a while. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a pro, but I mean, it's one of the ways I relax.
You've been in the industry for quite a while, a good while, and I know you've seen the changes that have been happening. Do you have anything general to say about the changes? Are we heading to the right direction? Are we improving? Are we reversing? What do you think we could do to break outside the four corners of this country? There are more than four corners, but anyway.
So I think just even the fact that we're having this conversation is a sign that we're headed in the right direction, because there are more sources of information for people who are wanting to get into this space. So I would say we are kind of headed in the right direction. There's still many challenges, many problems people go through when they're trying to get into this space. Even people who are published, being published, there's still so many mistakes I'm making, even right within publishing. So the fact that people are talking more about it, more spaces to access information, that for me is a step in the right direction. However, the business environment is rough, and but people, I think we are very resilient people.
Yeah.
So people are pushing forward in spite of and despite of everything, and putting out books. Yeah.
Before I forget,
Yeah.
you're an award-winning author. Tell us about the almost awards and the awards themselves, and how does that feel?
Oh my goodness. So the first time I won anything for my writing was a story I did for Story Moja blog, one of those dark stories. You can go find
Which
it.
I need to find.
Yeah. And I won 2 tickets to the Hay Festival.
Wow.
And I think a ticket was going for like 5,000.
Okay.
So that was like 10,000.
Yes. Did you sell them?
No. I went.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my goodness, like I can actually win.
Yes.
So the idea of maybe I could win started to kind of develop in my thoughts,
Yeah.
And then in 2019, 2 of my books were submitted for consideration.
Which ones were this?
Just this ones.
Just these ones. I can see why. And that's the one that won, yeah?
It's actually Trio Troubles.
Oh, it was Trio Troubles.
Yeah. They were both submitted. Now, just this ones, when it was a manuscript, it had been shortlisted for the BAT Award when it was a manuscript, not as a complete book.
Yeah.
So when they were being submitted, I thought just this one was the one that was going to be nominated. In fact, I forgot that Trio Troubles was even being considered. So when the shortlist, the nomination list came out, I was beside myself. Trio Troubles, oh my goodness. I even had to go find the book and read it to remember what I had written. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually a really cool story.
Yes.
So then we go into the award ceremony, and I'm like, am I winning? Am I not?
Yeah. Nerve-wracking moments, yes.
Can this happen? Is it, And
did you have a speech ready?
Okay, so the setup is not one where the winners speak thankfully.
Okay.
But yeah, so, and then boom, I won.
You won.
I won.
Jump.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think my reaction that day was so extra.
Yeah.
Like there was a video of it. I think I was jumping all the way to the stage.
I would.
Yeah, I was like, I won. Like I actually won.
Yeah.
And it took maybe a couple of months to get over it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'd just be walking the street, minding my own business, and remember, I won.
Smile.
I won. I feel like I want to stop someone. Do you know I won?
Do you know me?
Not do you know who I am?
Yeah, no.
Just
yeah.
I can't believe I won.
Yes.
I won.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a big shock.
Yes.
And,
nice surprise.
I was happy, not shocked that
it's good enough to win, but still.
Just can I actually win? So that was huge, and I could get used to it. I don't mind winning again. I don't mind.
Jomo
if it happens
Kenyatta?
again. Yes, so that was actually Jomo Kenyatta.
Yeah, the Jomo Kenyatta BAT Awards is
Okay, so as a manuscript, just this once was shortlisted for BAT Award. Now, BAT Award is for young adults. That's a separate. So the BAT Award, I didn't do a big celebration because I was just, not just, excuse me, my choice of words. I was a nominee. I was a finalist, but I didn't win.
Okay.
So I didn't make too big fuss about it,
But
because
it's still amazing to be nominated.
Awesome, because it wasn't a book yet. It was still a manuscript by the time it was being shortlisted.
Okay.
So I didn't. It was a but. So I was actually expecting just this once to be, but then Trio Travels Peter katikati yao.
Kapita pale hivi.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Have you entered for other awards? Have you tried? Because it's addictive.
Yeah, I think every year when I have an eligible manuscript, an eligible book, I do submit.
Okay.
I mean, not I don't, but my publisher
Your publisher does.
Yeah.
Okay, we are almost coming to the end of this lovely, lovely conversation. But I have two people I really love to listen to when they are reading their work, and you happen to be one of them. And I want to introduce you to our viewers. Please read for us and let that she come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read from my book, Kitty Cat.
Kitty Cat, yes.
So I won't read a big passage like I did when we first met. So I'm taking the story in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And it shall make sense.
Okay.
Okay. So, and do I look at okay.
No, you look at the book.
All
if you
right.
need to look up.
All right. So when she got to their house, Mama and Papa were having a chat. Mama, Papa, look, I found a little kitty cat, said Sipat. She showed them the little kitty cat resting on her arms. Can I keep her? Asked Sipat. Mama and Papa stopped their chat. They looked at the cat in Sipat's arms. Mama said, I wish we lived on a farm. Papa said, your cat would have lots of space to run. Sipat felt tears in her eyes. She felt like she was going to cry. Can I keep her, please, Mama? I promise to care for her, Papa. I will keep her out of trouble, Mama. I will clean up her mess, Papa. Mama and Papa smiled. With a big hug, Mama said, you can, yes, you can. You can keep your little kitty cat. Sipat smiled back. Thank you so much, she said. I will feed her and take her with me to the park. She will sleep in my room. I will clean her mess with a broom. Sipat jumped up and down and said, my kitty cat Niti will have plenty of milk. I will make her a ribbon and it will be pink. Sipat and little Niti had so much fun. They played in the house, they played in the grass, they played under the trees, they played in the sun. I love my little kitty Niti, said Sipat. She was having so much fun.
Presenting she, the performer. Thank you. That was amazing.
Sure.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for gracing us, and hope to see you in the next 2-3 years when you've got another 20 books out here. We've come to the end of today's program. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.